Hello, Facebook land. Hi, this is Giovanna Rossi coming to you live with an update from Family Friendly New Mexico. If you're new to our program and to our information, we are a nonprofit initiative that supports businesses to adopt and implement family friendly policies in the workplace. So, some of you might be our awardees as well, so you know a lot about our program, and we're really trying to help employers navigate the changes that are happening right now and also really support employees with some of these shifts as well. And uh, the biggest shift right now that we're addressing is a lot of people are transitioning to working from home. So, first of all, I want to give a shout out to all of the people who don't have the luxury of working from home and they are out on the front lines. There are healthcare workers, our grocery store workers, just all of the people who are out there helping in this health crisis right now. So, thank you to all of you. If you do have the luxury of working from home, you might have some challenges too. So this is not a super easy transition for everybody. Um, and as you join, if you're watching live, go ahead and say hi in the chat so I can see you. I'm going to be sharing today 6 tips for working from home with kids. So some of you are used to working from home. You've been doing it a long time. Some of you, this is completely new. Your office phone is being forwarded to your home phone. You're trying to figure out how to answer the, different calls coming in. And a lot of us, whether, whichever group we're in, we're also getting used to doing all of this with our kids at home. So kids are off school, they're at home with us, and there's just a lot of changes. So I want to go over the 6 tips on our new on our blog. It's our new blog post, and I think one of our team is going to put the link in the comments here so you can read the blog. Everything that I talk about, mostly everything that I talk about here today, is over on the blog on the website. So I think Angelica is going to put that link in the comments for you. I'm super excited to say that we are officially launching or relaunching our blog in order to really provide more resources to businesses and their employees to really have a family-friendly workplace. So what does that mean if we're at home? I have 6 tips for you today, and the first one is to create a routine. Now, if you're listening to this and you have some other ideas about what you're doing, please share with us. We'd love to hear what's working for you. The topic today is working from home with kids. So I'd love to hear from you. What is working for you? What are your challenges? And I'll share the 6 tips that we've come up with. The first one is to establish a routine, and this really helps with not only your workflow and your life, but also for your kids. So most of you, know this. It's a matter of like really making it happen. That's sometimes a challenge. So your morning routine can consist of, getting breakfast, doing some meditation, doing your exercise, doing some journaling. It really depends on what works for you, but it's a really good idea to have a routine in the morning that just sets you up with some structure for the day, because we're in this new environment of not necessarily having a lot of structure. So a routine really helps. If you have a routine, I'd love to hear about it. You can comment in the chat and we'll read out your comments. So the tip number 2, and before I go on, I want to mention that this blog post, it is an excerpt from a full article that was printed in the Santa Fe New Mexican last Sunday, and maybe we can pop that link in as well if you want to read the full post or the full op-ed in the paper. We can link to that as well. So number 2 is redefining productivity and success. Now, why might we need to do that? I think it's clear we're inundated with new types of communication, different kinds of meetings. We're adjusting. Some people are still trying to set up their home office situation. You might be at a kitchen table, you might be at a little card table in the hallway. I don't know. I've heard of all kinds of things happening out there. And if you are in this transition, you know that productivity might be going down, right? You might not be feeling as productive and successful at work. And this is why tip number 2 is so important. And maybe, Angelica, you can type in the chat tip number 1, create a routine. And then as I go through them, you can type them in. Tip number 2, redefine productivity. And this is so important because we expect a lot of ourselves as employees, but also as employers. So if you're the boss or a manager, you might be already rethinking how exactly you want to proceed over the next few weeks and months in terms of deliverables. Now, some deliverables are not negotiable. You have to deliver certain services, and certainly in order to generate income, that's really important. So I get that. Where there is flexibility, though, that's where I'm asking you to look at that and just really explore, do we really need to do that project right now? Or can we, focus on the essentials and therefore create some flexibility and some space, right? Some space for us to adjust to this new way of working. So that's number 2, redefine productivity. Number 3 is nourishment. So I'm just going to get into my other computer here. So when we talk about nourishing ourselves, and all of these tips are for you as the adult, as the employee, but also by extension, it's for your kids too. And by doing these things, it really helps you work efficiently and productively with your kids in the house. So when I say routine under tip number 1, yeah, it's establishing a routine for your kids too. Redefining productivity for kids is like, do they really need to be sitting, trying to replicate school environment at home? Do you need to be doing that? Do you need to be producing 20 worksheets in a day? Or can there be some flexibility around how you define productivity and success for your kids' learning while this is happening? Okay, so number 3 is nourish yourself and your kids. And when I say nourish, what do you think of? Nourishment, is definitely food, like, focusing on power foods and things that really fuel us rather than that deplete us. So if you know that gluten really bothers you, this is the time to not indulge, right? You want to be feeling really good and really healthy right now. So your power foods are great, and all the healthy fruits and vegetables that you can provide yourself and your kids. Also, nourishment means, nourishing your body and mind. So movement every day, getting in some kind of scheduling and some kind of movement, whether it's yoga or stretching or a bike ride or going for a walk with a dog. If you can raise your heart rate, that's best, and break a sweat. But if you have an injury or if you aren't able to do a lot of high energy exercise, then even just raising your heart rate by going for a walk is great. And then as far as nourishment as well, Finding something every day that you love. This is so important right now because there's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of stress and uh, we're going in between work and kids and really kind of leaving out some of that joy that we can create for our lives. So finding something that nourishes you that you love. So whether that's a beautiful cup of tea curled up with a book for half an hour, or it's gardening or something. What is it that you love? And just build that into your day and with your kids too, and ask them what they love. What do they want to do? And maybe you can do it together. Okay, so moving on. Number 4 is delegate. Now, I love this one because we so often take on everything. Like, it's my responsibility for myself, to get my work done, and it's my responsibility to make sure everybody else gets what they need done and manage, the household and just everything. And really, I want to encourage you to, if you're good at delegating already, lean into that and really use that. Use it with your kids, This is a great time to teach kids how to do laundry. It doesn't matter how old they are, they can do something that contributes. And emptying the dishwasher and, feeding the dog, these kinds of things that you can delegate are really important right now. And of course, at work with your team, making sure that people, that you talk about what it is that needs to happen and then delegating and dividing up the work. Number 5 is connect. And this is really important because we're doing a lot of online connection right now at work, but I want to make sure that we also do connection with friends and family. So some people are setting up social hours at the end of the day where they get to just hang out with their friends, bring your favorite drink, and just have a little bit of social time with your pals, definitely connecting with family. Building that in on a daily basis, and for your kids, especially if you're separated from older relatives, really helps stay connected. And number 6, last but not least, being of service. So whether in your work or in your home life or in your community, how can you be of service right now? And a good thing to do with this is to journal about it, and then pick something to do and involve your kids. How can your kids help? Can you check on a neighbor? Can you call grandma? What kinds of things can you send dinner to the healthcare workers at the hospital? What kinds of things can we do to be of service? And that will really help with kids too, involving them in the solution. So those are the 6 tips we have right now for working from home with kids. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that, other ideas that people have. I'd love to hear about them in the chat. And I see we've got Amanda says, feed their imagination. Yes. Yep. That's a really great one. I think that was to do with nourishment and nourishing kids. So feed their imagination. And there's a great, there's so many free resources right now, but Mo Willems, who wrote the Pigeon book, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, he's doing a daily doodle class from the Kennedy Center that my daughter's doing, and she loves it. So it's really fun. Yeah, absolutely. Any other comments? We'd love to hear them. Otherwise, head over to the blog for more on how to work from home with kids. And later this week or next week, we're going to have our next blog post about different resources for economic security for business owners in this time of transition and change. So Family Friendly New Mexico is here to support you as an employer in trying to create a family friendly workplace for your employees, and we look forward to hearing from you.